Listen to this very carefully because it could save your marriage and your sanity. Have you ever stopped to think about how that confident guy who won your wife over turned into this subdued man who asks permission to go out with his friends? It's like watching a wild lion being domesticated day after day until he becomes a house cat in a gilded cage. Comfortable? Maybe. But you've lost your claws, your ferocity, your life's purpose. Pay close attention now. This isn't about being misogynistic or treating your partner poorly. It's about maintaining your masculine essence intact while building a life together. Because the ultra-rare truth few men realize is that your wife didn't fall in love with the submissive doormat you've become. She fell in love with the decisive man you were before you gave away your soul at the altar. You feel it, don't you? That suffocating feeling when you get home and realize you no longer have an active voice in decisions. Your personal projects have turned to dust. Your professional ambition has been replaced by an endless list of household chores. You've become an extra in your own life. And the worst part is, you allowed it to happen. Do you know what's most tragic about all this? You think you're doing the right thing, you think you're being a good husband, but in reality, you're digging your own emotional grave, because when a man loses his sovereignty, he loses respect. And without respect, man, love just becomes an empty word you repeat out of habit. I've seen this happen hundreds of times. Men who were benchmarks at work, natural leaders, guys who commanded respect wherever they went. In less than 2 years of marriage, they became shadows of their former selves. They apologize for existing. They whisper when they should speak. They yield when they should lead. Can you feel that weight in your chest right now? That lump in your throat when you realize your dreams have been shelved? That your desires always come second? That you've become a silent provider without the right to an opinion? Come on, wake up to reality. Studies show that over 70% of married men report a significant loss of identity in the first 3 years of marriage. It's no coincidence. It's a systematic pattern of male domestication that happens right under your nose. But don't worry, there's a solution. After 8 years working with relationship dynamics and seeing alpha males turn into domestic slaves, I discovered exactly where the problem lies, and more importantly, how to reverse this situation before it's too late. Do you want to know the secret? It's simple, but almost no one applies it. Most men prefer to live in the comfort zone of submission than to face the temporary discomfort of taking back the reins of their own lives. But you're not most men, right? Now pay very close attention because I'm going to show you the 5 fundamental pillars for you to reclaim your masculine sovereignty without destroying your marriage. In fact, by doing this right, you will strengthen your relationship in ways you never imagined possible. First pillar, the fatal error of programmed guilt. You've been conditioned since childhood to feel guilty for being a man, for having your own desires, for wanting to lead, for not wanting to share every second of your life with another person. This guilt paralyzes you, man. It makes you accept unacceptable situations because you think you're being selfish by setting boundaries. Do you know what happens biologically when you constantly suppress your needs? Your body literally goes into survival mode. Cortisol levels through the roof, testosterone in the gutter. You become a diluted version of yourself, irritable, tired, no libido. And you still wonder why you lost that inner fire that defined you. I guarantee you one thing, your wife doesn't want a doormat. She wants a man, a partner she can respect and admire. When you erase yourself to please, you kill attraction. It's like an internal female radar that detects male weakness. And weakness doesn't excite anyone. Does that make sense to you? Let me tell you about Carlos, a successful executive, married at 32. Within 18 months, he became a full-time nanny, while his wife made all the important decisions. Do you know how he realized he had become a domestic slave? When he asked permission to buy a beer with his own hard-earned money. Ridiculous? Absolutely. But I bet you know several Carloses out there. Maybe you yourself are heading in that direction. The point is to recognize the signs before it's too late. Second pillar, the trap of false harmony. You avoid conflict at all costs. You prefer to swallow your pride rather than have a difficult conversation. You think maintaining peace is a sign of maturity. But in reality, you're just postponing the inevitable explosion. Because accumulated resentment is a ticking time bomb, my friend. Every time you give in when you shouldn't, a part of you dies. It might sound dramatic, but it's the pure truth. Your subconscious registers every betrayal you commit against yourself. And it exacts its price in the form of depression, anxiety, addictions. You drink more, eat more, escape more. Anything to avoid facing the truth that you've lost yourself along the way. Do you know what's worse? Your wife notices all of this. Women have an impressive ability to read between the lines. She knows you're pretending to agree. She knows you're unhappy, and that makes her insecure too. Because if you can't even defend your own convictions, how will you protect your family when needed? Can you feel the difference? Let me be direct with you. Healthy conflict is necessary. It's through friction that you grow as a couple. When you express disagreement with respect but firmness, you're showing that there's still a man in there, that you have your own opinion, that you're not just an echo of her desires. Third pillar, the myth of noble sacrifice. You were taught that love is sacrifice, that a real man gives up everything for his family. But no one told you there's a fine line between sacrifice and self-destruction, and you probably crossed that line a long time ago. Pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Real sacrifice is when you give up something smaller for something greater, when you invest time and energy in building a better future. But what you're doing is different. You're sacrificing your essence, your purpose, your identity. And for what? To maintain an artificial peace that benefits no one. Your wife didn't ask you to become a zombie. In fact, she's probably frustrated with this subdued version of you. Remember when you first met? What did she like about you? Your confidence, your direction, your sense of humor. Where did all that go? I'll tell you a secret that few apply. Keeping your personal interests alive isn't selfishness. It's emotional survival. When you cultivate your passions outside the relationship, you bring new energy into the home. You have stories to tell, achievements to share. You continue to be interesting. Do you see the dynamic? A man without his own purpose is like a boat without a rudder. It goes wherever the wind takes it, and usually the wind takes you straight to the rock bottom of mediocrity. You become predictable, boring, disposable. Fourth pillar, the silent provider syndrome. You work like a dog. You pay all the bills. You ensure your family's comfort. And you think that's enough, that your role is limited to being a walking ATM. But provision without presence is emotional abandonment, man. Let me explain something to you. Money doesn't buy respect. It doesn't buy admiration. It doesn't buy desire. If you think you can compensate for your emotional absence and lack of leadership with gifts and material comfort, you are completely mistaken. Studies show that women in relationships with emotionally absent men are 3 times more likely to develop depression. Do you know why? Because they feel like widows of living husbands. They have a man at home but don't have a partner. They have a provider but don't have a leader. They have financial security but don't have emotional security. Are you truly present? Or do you come home and hide behind your phone, the TV, any distraction, so you don't have to face the reality of your marriage? Presence isn't just being physically in the same environment. It's being connected, engaged, actively leading the family's direction. Now comes the most important part. Leadership in marriage isn't a dictatorship. It's shared vision with directed execution. It's you taking responsibility for guiding the boat while listening to and considering your partner's opinion. But in the end, someone needs to make the decision, and that someone should be you most of the time. Does that scare you? It's normal. You've been programmed to be afraid to lead, to think that any form of masculine authority is toxic. But let me tell you a truth that no one has the courage to speak. Women constantly test their partner's strength, not out of malice, but out of a biological instinct to ensure protection and security. Fifth pillar, the paradox of lost attraction. You think that being nice and submissive will keep your wife in love, that doing everything she asks will guarantee eternal love. But attraction doesn't work that way. Attraction needs tension, mystery, challenge, and you killed all of that when you became a predictable open book. Think with me. When was the last time you surprised her? That you made a bold decision? That you said no to something she wanted? That you kept a healthy secret? You became so transparent that there was nothing left to discover, nothing left to conquer. The dance of attraction is an eternal game of approach and retreat. When you are always available, always agreeing, always present, you kill desire. It's like eating the same dish every day. No matter how good it is, you get tired of it. Humans need variety, unpredictability, emotion. Can you see the pattern? You are trying to ensure total security in the relationship, but total security is emotional death. Relationships need a little healthy insecurity to keep the flame alive. I'm not talking about playing games or being cruel. I'm talking about keeping your individuality intact. Let me give you a practical example. John, 41 years old, 3 kids. For 5 years, he hadn't gone out alone with friends. He had no hobbies of his own. He lived solely for his family. One day he decided to go back to playing soccer on Wednesdays. His wife complained at first, but do you know what happened after a month? She started to dress up more when he came home. She started showing more interest. Why? Because he became a prize again, not just a piece of furniture in the house. When you have your own life, you become valuable again. Your time becomes scarce. Your attention becomes special. You stop being taken for granted and start being won over daily again. Does this dynamic make sense? Now I'm going to teach you the framework that changes everything. The axis of marital sovereignty. These are 3 poles you need to balance to maintain your alpha essence within marriage. Pole 1, personal autonomy. Your friends, your hobbies, your alone time, all of this is non-negotiable. It's not asking permission, it's communicating, it's not abandoning your family. It's recharging your batteries to come back better. You need at least 20% of your free time dedicated exclusively to yourself. Does that seem like a lot? It's not. It's less than 5 hours a week. Enough time to maintain your sanity and individuality. Time to remember who you are beyond husband and father. Time to cultivate the characteristics that made your wife fall in love with you. Pole 2, proactive leadership. You make the strategic family decisions. Where to live, how to invest, what direction to take. Your wife gives her opinion, suggests questions, but the final decision and the responsibility are yours. This isn't sexism. It's a natural division of roles that has worked for thousands of years. Does it scare you to take on this weight? It should. Leadership is responsibility, but it's this responsibility that makes you respectable, that makes your wife feel secure, that keeps sexual polarity alive. A man who doesn't lead doesn't excite. It's a hard but necessary truth. Pole 3, conscious connection. Real intimacy, not just physical. Deep conversations, not just household logistics. Total presence when you're together. This means putting away your phone, turning off the TV, looking into her eyes. It means knowing her fears and dreams while sharing yours. Do you see the balance? You maintain your individuality, but connect deeply. You lead with firmness, but listen attentively. You are your own man, but choose to build together. This is the secret almost no one realizes. It's not about choosing between being an alpha or being married. It's about being both. Now I know what you're thinking, but my wife will never accept these changes. She'll think I'm being selfish, that I'm destroying our dynamic. And you're right, initially there will be resistance. There always is when you change the rules of the game. But think about it. Are you happy with the current dynamic? Is she fulfilled with a subdued and submissive husband? Are you satisfied being a domestic slave? If the answer is no, then change isn't optional. It's necessary for the survival of the marriage. Initial resistance is a test, not rejection. She'll question, complain, maybe even threaten. It's her way of checking if you're serious or if it's just another weak attempt at change. Stay the course. Be consistent. In a few weeks, she'll realize that the man she loved is back. I guarantee it. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. Men who were on the verge of divorce saved their marriages simply by reclaiming their masculinity, not by being jerks, but by being real men, with opinion, direction, their own purpose. Do you know the irony of all this? Most men are afraid of losing their wife if they set boundaries, but it's precisely the opposite. You lose her when you have no boundaries. When you become a doormat, when you stop being the man she chose, women respect strength, not weakness. They admire decisiveness, not indecision. They desire leadership, not subservience. It's an evolutionary mechanism millions of years old. You can try to fight against it, or you can use it to your advantage. Now pay very close attention to this part. Timing is crucial. You won't change everything overnight. That would be sabotage. You will implement gradual but consistent changes. First, reclaim your personal time. Then retake important decisions. Finally, re-establish sexual polarity. Each step needs to be firm and definitive. No backing down at the first complaint. No apologizing for being a man. No negotiating your essence. You are reclaiming what has always been rightfully yours. your sovereignty as a man. Let me tell you about Mark. 45 years old, 20 years married. He had become what we call an invisible man, present but absent. A provider but not a leader. In 6 months of applying these principles, he saved his marriage and regained the respect of his children. Do you know what he told me? That he felt alive again, as if he'd woken up from a 2-decade coma. He started having his own projects again. He started exercising again. He started having an opinion again. And the most surprising thing, his wife became a different person. More affectionate, more feminine, more interested. Can you imagine that transformation? It's not magic. It's simply the natural result of re-establishing masculine-feminine polarity. When you are truly a man, she can be truly a woman. When you lead, she can trust. When you protect, she can relax. But there's a crucial detail. This won't work if it's fake, if it's an act. It has to come from within. It has to be a genuine change of mindset. You really need to believe in your worth as a man. Really embrace your role as a leader. Really set non-negotiable boundaries. Is the process painful? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Do you prefer the temporary pain of change or the permanent pain of mediocrity? Do you prefer the discomfort of regaining control or the suffering of living as a slave? The choice is yours. It always has been. Now comes the part no one tells you. Your wife wants you to change. She's rooting for you to wake up, to go back to being the man who won her over. But she'll never tell you that directly. It would be admitting she was wrong, that she contributed to your domestication, that she needs a strong man. It's a complex game of egos and expectations, but deep down, at her most primitive instinct, she wants to be led by a man she respects. She wants to surrender to someone stronger than her. She wants to feel safe in your hands. Are you ready to be that man? Or will you continue pretending everything is fine? That being submissive is evolution? That giving up everything is love? You know the truth. You always have. You were just afraid to admit it. Fear is understandable. You've been programmed to believe that masculinity is toxic, that a good man is a castrated man, that leading is oppressing. But look around you. Look at the marriages that work. There's always a strong man and a woman who trusts him. It's no coincidence. It's a universal pattern. From the caves to the skyscrapers, the man protects and provides. The woman nurtures and supports. When you try to invert or neutralize these roles, chaos ensues. Attraction dies. Respect evaporates. Pay attention now as I'll close this with a powerful final thought. You have 2 options. Continue in the gilded cage, comfortable but suffocated, watching your essence die day after day. Or break the bars, reclaim your ferocity, and go back to being the lion your wife fell in love with. The cage is safe, I know, but security without purpose is a prison. And you weren't born to be a prisoner. You were born to lead, conquer, protect, to leave a legacy that goes beyond paying bills and doing chores. Your children are watching, learning what it means to be a man through your example. What kind of man are you showing them? The one who bows down to everything, or the one who stands tall even in the storm? Time is passing, man. Every day you postpone this change is one less day of a full life, one less day of self-respect, one less day of being the man you should be. But there's still time. There's always time as long as you're breathing. The question is whether you have the courage, if you're willing to pay the price, if you're ready to step out of the comfort zone of submission and into the growth zone of leadership. I know you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made it this far. You wouldn't have listened to every word. You wouldn't have felt every truth resonate within you. You know you need to change. You know you deserve more. You know your family deserves the best version of you. So do it now, before you forget, before the courage fades, before routine swallows you whole again. Like this video if it resonated with something real inside you. Subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of masculine awakening. And most importantly, start reclaiming your sovereignty today. Remember the gilded cage. It only has power as long as you believe you can't leave. But the door has always been open. It has always depended on you to take the first step, to choose freedom over security, to choose to be a lion instead of a domesticated cat. Your wife is waiting, not for the submissive domestic slave, for the man, for the leader, for the lion she knows exists within you. Don't disappoint her. Don't disappoint yourself. Don't waste another day in the cage. The moment is now. The choice is yours. It always has been.